At this scale, the diver is an insect beside a dead ocean liner. On the outside, navigation starts with scale and discipline.
The line is not optionate. It is the way memory survives inside wreckage.
Entry confirmed. The way out is now marked before the first risk begins. At depth, even a calm pass from a shark changes how carefully you move.
Correct response is simple. Hold position, protect the line, let the animal own the water.
The first entry is never a room. It is a wound in steel. Inside now. Every inch matters from this point on. This is what age does underwater. The corridor is still a corridor, but only barely.
Correct junction. Mailroom first.
Here the ship once sorted messages, bills, notices, all the small paper proof of ordinary life. This room is navigable only because we treat every surface as unstable. This is where a small mistake becomes a navigation problem. Small silt out. Correct response is to freeze, not fight it.
Correct line, correct pause, visibility returns. We are still en route.
Silt settles faster than memory. The room speaks only if you move slowly enough.
Before a body, there is often cloth, caught where water and wreckage stopped a final movement. Trace evidence first. It tells us a person reached this corner before the wreck geometry fixed the outcome.
The posture fits the space. Sheltered, trapped, and never moved far once this corner closed.
No contact, no rearranging, no claim. Respect is part of the route.
A private object in a public room, valuable less for price than for the life it once belonged to.
Marker set. Correct branch remains obvious on the return.
Correct junction? Tool store branch next. Tool rooms are useful because work leaves patterns, storage, repairs, and where people reached in a hurry. Selection matters. You open the least stressed structure first, not the most tempting one.
Controlled opening. The room stays readable only if we do not cloud it ourselves.
Not valuable in the jewel box sense, but priceless in context. Evidence of work frozen in place. A shoe at a threshold often means the rest of the story is a few feet away, held by the shape of the wreck. Again, the trace evidence comes first. Cloth and shoe tell us where the body was stopped.
The terrain explains the posture. Pinned, sheltered, and left where the room finally closed around him.
Same rule every time. Observe, verify, withdraw, leave the scene as it is. Opening a bad door is about leverage, patience, and not making the frame worse. New space, new geometry. Correct route depends on reading each container before entering it fully. Stairwell scene. Vertical spaces magnify every routing mistake. Marker set. Stairwell confirmed. In a void like this, you stay on structure, not on guesswork. Correct route. The stairwell opens onto a distinct service zone.
Different materials survive differently.
Porcelain remembers where wood and fabric disappear.
This is a container space again. Tight walls, low ceiling, one safe lane through it.
Bathrooms preserve intimate fragments, objects people carried when they thought they still had time.
Cloth at a choke point suggests someone met the room and the collapse at exactly the wrong angle.
Personal item, then body. The sequence is becoming familiar.
Sheltered by the collapse, fixed by it, and still aligned with the doorway where the attempt to reach this room seems to have ended.
Another intimate artifact, valuable because it narrows the human scale of the wreck.
Route remains consistent, stairwell behind, wash area cleared, service spaces continuing forward.
Correct junction, galley route.
Different room, different discipline. Drawers here may hold service objects or personal spillover from the voyage above.
Proof again that routine and catastrophe can occupy the same object.
Big room, narrow, safe path. The route is always smaller than the room.
Open only what you can control. A bad door can make a worse room.
Service spaces preserve routine through hardware, racks, guides, hatches, all the machinery of meals.
Not a passenger keepsake, but still a signature of class, service, and order. A blocked hatch is not a route. Correct choice is to refuse the trap.
Pantry cleared. Route continues forward through service wash spaces.
Every new room starts with geometry, where the walls close, where the floor betrays you, where the line can stay clean. Even workrooms catch personal drift, objects left in pockets or set down in haste. Distinct, local, and readable, exactly the kind of object that anchors a room in its original function.
Service space cleared. The route is widening, not loosening.
Marker set. Correct junction, lounge branch.
Public space survives here as silhouette, music, seating, and social order flattened into wreck geometry.
Correct room reading makes return possible later. Landmark, lane, line.
A luxury object, small enough to travel in a coat pocket, precise enough to narrow class and setting.
Trace evidence at shelter points often means someone used furniture as a barrier against panic or current. Cloth, shoe, buckle. The sequence suggests the body should be held just beyond the furniture line. The room itself explains the posture. Furniture used as cover, then the ceiling came down and fixed the final position.
No interference, no recovery attempt, no staged look. The room remains the evidence.
Public rooms connect, but only through the lanes the wreck still permits.
Crack marks the forward side. Correct heading.
Ornament survives only in pieces now, but it still tells us what kind of space this was. Wall niches often preserve better than open surfaces. Shelter matters at every scale.
A luxury accessory, intimate and portable, preserved only because the niche protected it.
Stairwell ahead. Vertical spaces reset the whole route.
Stairwell seen again. Correct route stays on this level for now.
Landmark set. If visibility falls later, this post will still tell us where the landing begins. Choke points near stairs often preserve the clearest human stories.
Cloth caught at a threshold suggests a last attempt to pass through a narrowing space.
Shoe, pin, cloth. Again, the terrain tells us where to expect the body.
Not random placement, caught at the landing, then fixed by the corridor geometry as the structure failed around it.
Respect means leaving both the body and the context intact. Offices hold both administration and traces of trust, money, records, valuables, decisions. The safest route through a room is rarely the most direct. It is the one that keeps the context legible.
Every drawer is a little structural test. Open only as much as the room can tolerate.
A writing instrument narrows the human scale again, and someone kept this close because words and signatures still mattered here. Not every locked thing should be opened. A rec is not a permission slip.
Office documented. Route remains intact.
Nearby writing rooms linked public movement with private correspondence. Different room, different rhythm.
Another container space, desk, wall, ceiling, floor. Read all 4 before moving.
Ceiling failure decides where you can stand as much as the floor does.
Same crack signature, same heading. Correct forward side.
The least movement often yields the clearest evidence.
Another distinct personal object, preserved only because the desk closed over it.
Writing room documented. Route still clean.
Forward service spaces are tightening again. The next decisions get more structural.
Marker set. Correct junction bridge loop.
The route is narrowing. This is where planning ahead matters. That doorway is a true constraint. Clearance must be read before commitment.
Even here, an intimate object survives, but the corridor now matters more than the artifact.
This is where route discipline becomes survival. The ship is asking for precision now.
This is the real test space. Curved steel, low overhead, no extra inches.
Correct bridge loop. Clearance depends on line placement before body movement.
Contact or both sides. Stop there.
Controlled retreat. No panic, no grinding, no blind shove. Angle solves what force never will. Pinch cleared. Correct posture, correct line.
The command space still reads as command space, even ruined. Centerline instruments, side stations, forward light now gone.
Wheelhouse confirmed. This is the correct space. Small command object, unmistakably functional, preserved because the cubby sheltered it. Shelter points beside control stations often hold the clearest final positions. Cloth first. The wreck tells the story in layers if you let it.
Trace sequence confirmed. Uniform fragment, badge, glove. The body should be just beyond the shelter line.
The terrain explains the posture, shelter taken. Then the collapse sealed the space around him. No contact, no shifting, no theatrical linger. The scene remains undisturbed.
Correct route continues aft into the planning spaces.
The chart room survives as a room of surfaces, drawers, table, overhead light source now collapsed into darkness.
In a planning room, the smallest drawer often gives the cleanest answer.
A navigation instrument, precise and unmistakable, still anchored to the room that required it.
Lower ceiling, tighter lane. Same rule. Read the container, then the object.
Distinct category, distinct purpose. Another tool of authority and record.
Chart room confirmed. Adjoining compartment ahead. Line remains primary.
Small command-adjacent room, more private than the bridge, but the same age and collapse have reduced it to a tight shell.
Personal, portable, and specific. Objects like this compress a whole life into a few inches of silt.
Enough to identify the room, not enough to justify more disturbance.
Chart room behind, bridge front ahead. Route remains coherent.
The bridge front is both interior and edge, command space on one side, the abyss pressing at the other.
Telegraph scene. This is the forward anchor point.
Small navigational residue, still tied to the bridge function, still legible because the drawer sheltered it.
Correct, bridge front. Side lane only if the line stays readable.
Even here, this is still Titanic first and diver second. The scale never shrinks.
Side alcove, same rule, never lose the line for the object.
A personal object in a command side recess, likely carried rather than stored as part of the ship.
Telegraph still visible, route still clean.
The opening is beginning to drive the room, not just mark it.
Correct line, correct landmark sequence, telegraph lane opening.
Forward breach confirmed. Keep the landmark behind you.
This is the next real hazard. Visibility can go from readable to useless in seconds.
Line first. The room may disappear before the route does.
Hold! Do not chase visibility.
Only line, only marker. That is enough.
Recovery starts with stillness, not correction.
Landmark sequence restored. Correct bridge front.
This breach is now a known hazard, not a surprise. Better position, same route. Exposure reduced.
Correct bridge loop. Breach is forward, line is home.
The route survives because we adapt to the room, not because the room becomes easier. Better shelter, same orientation. After a whiteout, you rebuild the map in the same order every time. Breach boundary known. Stay inside it, do not negotiate with it.
Hazard understood. Route preserved. Exploration continues.
Small rooms like this trap both equipment and people when the ship deforms around them. Always open the quieter failure before the louder one.
Distinct object, distinct shelter. The case preserved what the room could not.
Locker geometry like this can create a sealed pocket for decades.
Cloth caught in compressed metal usually means the body was fixed by the room itself, not by water alone.
Trace sequence confirmed. Cloth, shoe, personal detail. The body should be deeper in the same shelter.
A posture is entirely structural, caught at the door, then sealed in place when the locker failed.
Observe, confirm, withdraw. The room stays the evidence.
Side exposure again, but narrower than the bridge front breach. The line stays inside.
Even a small pedestal can become a navigational anchor when half the wall is gone.
A distinct personal object in a command side space, preserved because the base cavity shielded it. Correct boundary. This opening is a hazard marker, not a passage. Stairwell-like space ahead. Tight overhead, sloped floor, one safe side.
Stairwell seen again. Correct route stays on the bracket side.
Correct bridge loop. Correct landing.
Communication spaces preserve systems, voice, cable, orders, long after people are gone. In a cramped system space, avoid the fragile thing first.
Another room-specific object. Small, fragile, and only readable because the drawer protected it.
Crack confirmed. This seam stays on the exit side of the route. Another distinct personal object, but the room itself is the more fragile artifact now.
Correct landing, correct junction, route still intact.
Tiny private spaces survive as shells of routine. Mirror, berth, one person's corner of the ship.
Personal grief carried aboard, then fixed here by the room itself.
Small room, low reward, high collapse risk. That is a clear answer.
Stairwell seen. Route remains readable.
The room is changing. That matters more now than the objects.
Structural warning. Freeze and read. Do not hurry blind.
Correct bracket side. Correct line. Retreat path is already chosen.
Second signal. This is escalation, not noise.
Move now, but controlled. No rush, no strike, no extra load.
That is enough. The structure is telling us to leave. Safety, preservation, and respect all say the same thing now. Leave.
Exit confirmed.
The retreat uses the same map in reverse. That is why the markers matter.
Telegraph seen. Correct bridge front. Keep inside the breach bound boundary.
At retreat, every landmark becomes a handoff to the next one. Chart room confirmed. Same left wall lane back out.
Wheelhouse seen again. Correct route remains center line.
Same center lane out. No improvisation now. Same solution backward. Angle, line, patience.
Crack seen. Correct forward branch on the way out.
Correct junction. Bridge loop cleared.
No new rooms now. Only the mapped route back.
Stairwell seen. Correct branch toward the lounge route.
The room still identifies itself in fragments, even on the way out.
Lounge seen. Same lane around the piano, same low ceiling hazard.
The lounge still reads if the landmarks stay in order.
Correct junction. Service route out.
Bath corridor seen. Retreat stays in the passage, not in the room. Stairwell seen again. The way out is still holding. Stairwell seen. Same inner line back up. Stairwell seen again. Correct landing.
Correct junction. Service loop confirmed.
Crack seen. This one is near exit. Same hatch, same clean angle out.
Tool store seen. No new stops now.
Correct lane, no side checks. Keep moving. Correct junction. Entry corridor branch. Mail loop confirmed. Correct route stays out here.
Handrail line seen. Correct corridor to exit.
Correct seam. Exit is close now.
Hull tear seen. Same clean exit angle. Exit confirmed. This is the way out.
Outside hull, correct line, no snag.
The ship is huge again out here. The diver shrinks back to scale. Even after being inside it, Titanic still dwarfs the human body.
Outer anchor seen. Clean recovery only.
Recover the line, leave the place. This is the right distance for the final look, outside, stable, and no longer pressing the structure. What we confirmed is simple and strong. The route holds, the spaces are real, and the human traces were shaped.
What remains unknown is just as important. Sealed pockets, blocked shafts, unopened compartments.
The right moment to leave is part of the discipline of return.
Distance restores proportion. The wreck stays where history left it.
End of survey. We leave with evidence, questions, and respect.